Well, I'm out on the big bike today. That being the 705, not the little 701. And the reason I'm on the 705 is because the 701 is no longer around. So, there's a story to it. And I left my last video with people dangling, looking at bearing parts that were coming out of my oil drain plug. And what that was is there's a counterbalancer for the camshaft up high, top of the head, riding on a set of needle bearings, or maybe one needle bearing and one hard bearing. Stop here on red. Why? So that bearing had malfunctioned. I took it to my local dealer, which was a couple hours away, dropped the bike off. They called back an hour later and said, well, there's dirt in the airbox, so it's a non-warranty issue. So it's kind of like, well, change the air filter, what am I supposed to do? Talked to some other Husky dealers, and one of them's like, that's not right. He goes, hang tight for a week or so. And I did. Left the bike in the back of my truck after I picked it up. And Husqvarna corporate down in Los Angeles area, Southern California, called and said, if you will take the motorcycle back to the dealer, we would like to offer you a complimentary engine rebuild. I'm thinking, that's pretty cool. So I took it back to the dealer, another 2-hour drive, dropped it off. The engine was in a box, and the frame had the wheels attached, obviously, so left everything there. And I said, hey, I'm going on vacation in about 6 weeks. I think we can get the bike back by then. Well, we don't know, maybe not. So 5.5 weeks passes, and these guys say, well, we got the engine back, and this was like on a Friday, I think, and I am leaving on vacation on Monday. And I was going to take this pig, but it sat out all winter long. In fact, I haven't been since I got the 701. And the gas cap had rusted shut. So I either had to take this bike with me with a rusted gas cap and no gas in the tank, or push on the dealer and see if they couldn't get that engine put back in the frame for me before I left. So Saturday turned into a big touch and go kind of a fiasco, and they're kind of like, well, we'll try, can't guarantee anything. It's like, well, I'm 2 hours away. Are we going to be able to get this thing done or not? So we're back and forth with the phone, and my Mercedes customers all like to refer to the dealerships as stealerships, and that's kind of the way this KTM Husky dealer was. He was kind of like, well, we can, we got a flat front tire, and we have to test drive the bike. And it's kind of like, well, it wasn't flat, you know, for the previous 6 or 7 months, and it wasn't flat when I dropped it off, and it had the tubeless system in it. And it's like, well, it won't seal up, so you need a whole new tubeless system. I was like, fine, put it in. And the other thing that I had done, per a couple people's recommendations, is I got the foam air filter for that 701, which is made by Rottweiler. And it's a $300 air filter. And I also got a little storage bag that comes with it that goes where the airbox used to be. So you get some storage capacity out of the deal. And so I had that. So it ended up that I had to leave the house. They still weren't done. Got to the dealership. The bike still wasn't done, but they were close. And then they're like, well, it's got a broken oil line. It's kind of like, well, you guys took it out of the frame and you put it back in. So, well, you know, you're going to have to get another one. So they test rode it, but it was dripping. So I took the bike and got home, and I wheeled it into the toy hauler. We were leaving, obviously, pretty soon. I couldn't ride the bike anyway. So wheeled it into the toy hauler, strapped everything down. Monday morning, we went off to St. Louis, and I had some stuff set up in high country of Colorado and Utah. And I was going to go riding out there on the way back. And then it's nice just to have the bike in the toy hauler in case something happens with the tow vehicle, the truck. I can always wheel the bike out and go get help or do whatever needs to be done. So we had driven for 2.5 days and spent the night at a friend's house, used his driveway in Tulsa. We're about 20 miles north out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and started to rain a little bit, and the semi-truck goes by, and he's honking his horn at me, and he's pointing. And I look in the mirror, and I don't see anything, but I've had the door on the toy hauler come down before. I've had tires blow out, and you can't tell anything that's going on. So I pulled over, I get out of the truck, I walk around the front, and I walk past my wife in the driver's seat, and I look at her, shrug my shoulders like, I don't see anything. And so I walked back all the way, and as I started to unlock the door, I can see flames inside the toy hauler. Got the door open, and this thing is on fire big time. And there was a fire extinguisher. I got my hand fried trying to get the fire extinguisher off the wall, and it might have started to do. It was starting to do something, but then it ran out. There was this ridiculous little fire extinguisher, bro, yay big. So I yell-yacked my wife, called 911, and within 10 minutes, the trailer was completely engulfed and gone. And probably within the last minute of time that we had, we were able to get the truck disconnected from the trailer and get it pulled out of the way. And watching that thing burn and watching the firemen trying to pull it out, and like my wife and I were just numb. We're just sitting there. The only thing we could think of is that the cat was in the toy hauler, and it was probably about 15-20 minutes later, watching these guys put the fire out, that it's like the motorcycle, the 701, was in the back of the toy hauler. And after the fire was all put out and I'm walking around inside of it, I was going, oh man, my wife just got that new laptop computer, and that was in here with a color laser printer we just got. Because the idea was I was going to be shipping Mercedes stuff from the road, just find a post office and ship, and I had to be able to print labels and conduct business out of a mobile office, so to speak. It was probably like about 4 or 5 hours later, it's like, hey, my laptop was in the trailer too. I mean, anything you can think of got fried. I had a couple pair of Klim pants, I think 2 or 3 helmets, fairly new pairs of Alpine Stars, Tech 7s, and some other Scout boots. All the clothes you need for a month on the road. I mean, everything just got toasted. So 701, I had insurance only for liability because I figured if I wrecked it, it was going to be from wrapping it around a pine tree, which wouldn't be covered under the insurance anyway. I was looking at maybe buying a new trailer while we're out on the road. The Midwest of the United States is like RV central. So I had a bunch of cash with me, which burned up, which actually the firemen found. It was in a plastic box, so that got sent off to the Treasury Department to see if they can figure out what was in there. And so now, what I'll do is I'm going to try. I've got a video of the fifth wheel burning, so I'll go ahead and include that. And then there's some still photos. I should be able to attach those to this video as well. You can see what was left over the toy hauler and what's left of the 701. There's a bunk bed that came down on top of it. And what you can see is the exhaust pipe, the rear wheel with the rear sprocket, and the chain. Incredibly hot fire. Basically, that bike would have been sitting on top of the fuel cells for the gas station, onboard fuel station, and the generator gas tanks. Both of them probably had about 15 gallons of fuel. So there's 30 gallons of fuel that's underneath the trailer. And then moving up to the front, you've got refrigerator and stove lines that once the fire reached that would have poked through for the propane tank fuel just to continue to torch that thing. So anyway, the conundrum all summer long was, do I just go back to riding this pig, which can be done. And I was just thinking on the way, just coming down the road, how comfortable this thing is. It's almost shielded from all the vibration and everything else. Of course, with my raging 42 horsepower and 400 whatever pounds, compared to the 701 at 70 horsepower and 300 whatever pounds. One's a spaceship and one's a mule. And obviously the off-road handling characteristics. So do I get another 701? I mean, I'm not even gonna try to ride this thing off-road. This is actually the first time I've used it since I got the 701 a year and a half ago. And it's funny, you take your Japanese reliability, all I did was hook the battery charger up to it, What little bit of fuel was in there was a year and a half old once I got the gas cap replaced. And pulled the choke, turned the key, it's fired up, and went down to the gas station, got some gas. So pretty crazy how reliable these things are. So anyway, do I get another 701? Do I look for something else? Haven't fully decided which direction to go going through the summertime. But anyway, I thought I'd update people. People saw that last video with the bearing pieces coming out, and I left people in the lurches. It's pretty crazy on those earlier 701 videos that I posted. They're up to 50,000 hits, people watching that. So I know there's a lot of interest in the 701. But that one met its demise, unfortunately, after the rebuild from the factory. I never even hit the starter button, so I've got no idea what a great job they did, and I have no idea how well that Rottweiler air filter would have done in terms of doing its job as an air filter, and if there's any performance gain from it. But anybody else watching this and you got a 701, if you take that thing off-road or you're in the dust, don't use those paper air filter elements. They cannot do anything. You've got to go to the foam, and that Rottweiler looks like a pretty slick option. So I'll go ahead and add the other video to this thing and move on. Get out of here. There's 5,000 rounds of ammunition in there. $15,000 of cash.